Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Bishop Heinrich Bedford-Strohm. In the first part, we explored what defines the human person from a Christian perspective in the age of artificial intelligence and why human dignity, relationships, empathy and responsibility cannot be reduced to algorithms or machines. Today we turn to the social, political and spiritual challenges arising from the rapid development of artificial intelligence. AI is transforming not only the way we communicate, work and use information. It also raises fundamental questions about power, justice, democratic oversight and the responsibility of governments, corporations and global institutions. For many years, the World Council of Churches has been actively engaged in examining both the opportunities and risks of artificial intelligence, organizing international consultations and conferences on these issues. It also worked closely with the Vatican and the Roman Catholic Church. Although the Catholic Church is not a member of the World Council of Churches, both have maintained close ecumenical cooperation and continuous theological dialogue for decades. They share many common concerns regarding human dignity, the ethics of emerging technologies, and responsibility for the common good. This is reflected clearly in Pope Leo XIV's encyclical Magnificat Humanitas, which approaches artificial intelligence from a perspective of human dignity. Against this background, we now speak with Bishop Heinrich Bedford-Strohm of the WCC about the responsibility of the churches in the digital age, the responsibilities and limits of artificial intelligence in spiritual life, and how technological progress can serve humanity without displacing the human person from the center. This is EWTN, this is Geneva, here is the report from Geneva. Good day. After discussing in the first part of our interview the Christian understanding of the human person, human dignity and the ethical challenges of artificial intelligence, we now turn to the social and spiritual consequences of this technological transformation. Who controls the data and power of the digital world? What responsibilities do governments, business and religious communities bear? Can artificial intelligence support spiritual life, and where are its limits? What message of hope can the churches offer in a time of profound technological change? I'm now joined by Bishop Heinrich Bedford-Strohm, Chairman of the Central Committee of the World Council of Churches. Good afternoon, Bishop Bedford-Strohm.
Hello, Christian.
Bischof, die Entwicklung und Kontrolle von künstlicher Intelligenz. AI technologies are being developed and controlled by a relatively small number of powerful corporations and governments. What responsibility do churches have to advocate for justice, transparency and accountability in the governance of AI?
Well, I'm glad about this question because I think it is at the center of our responsibility today in dealing with AI. We have experienced 1 or 2 decades in which some people have very cleverly used these new possibilities to build up a huge imperium of data corporations, and that has had the consequence that some very few corporations control the data of a huge part of humanity. And data, we all know that by now, data mean power. So we have monopolies who control the communication of billions of people. Facebook has about 3 billion followers, and if Facebook changes the algorithms, it has a direct effect on the daily communication of billions of people on this globe. This is an immense power, and we cannot tolerate such immense power without any democratic control. That is why we as churches should advocate mechanisms that establish rules for dealing with these new powerful possibilities that rule into the very daily lives of people. It must be democratically controlled, and the power of this cooperation must be limited, which is why we should initiate a global civil society discussion, and we as churches are the ideal agents in such a discussion because we are rooted locally and have this universal perspective. We should initiate such global discussion. We should work together with United Nations, which we already do, in order to find rules that we can all agree upon that control this tremendous power. That is a political task, and we as churches should engage in this big political issue because from our very mandate as Christians, given from Jesus, we are called to advocate those who do not have power, who are vulnerable, who do not participate in the blessings of the digital age. There is a digital injustice problem too. Not everyone has access. All these issues are issues of the churches. They are an expression of what the Bible makes visible as the preferential option for the poor. We need to be advocates for these people. So we should get involved, and we have the means as a global institution with people everywhere in the world.
Künstliche Intelligenz kann ja bereits Gebete, Predigten und theologische...
AI can already generate prayers, sermons and theological reflections. While these outputs may appear meaningful, can a machine ever genuinely participate in spiritual life, or does spirituality require consciousness, freedom and a relationship with God?
Well, AI can never replace human beings in spirituality. AI can be an instrument, like we sometimes take books, prayer books, for services and use a prayer from a book. We can use ideas of other people to give us our own ideas for our sermons. We might even read a sermon by someone else and take over what reaches our hearts for our own service. This is all fine. We can use AI to get information that will make certain things more fruitful, that we might say, but it can never replace it. There is an expression in physics, it's called emergence. It means that sometimes it's not just a causal effect that if you do one thing, something else comes. Natural sciences normally deals with that, but there's also something unplanned. And we as Christians call it the Holy Spirit. There's something new coming, creativity. Machines, also AI, only deal with what was fed into them. They do not have creativity, and we could never renounce creativity. No, human beings are spiritual beings because they are in relationship with God. Machines cannot be in relationship, and they cannot be in relationship with human beings and not with God. So they are again instruments for living our spirituality. They can never replace human spirituality.
Im Laufe der Geschichte hat das Christentum ja immer wieder auf tiefgreifende...
Throughout history, Christianity has responded to profound technological and social transformations. In the face of rapid advances in AI, what message of hope can the Christian faith offer to people who fear becoming irrelevant, replaceable or disconnected in the future?
Well, first of all, the whole Bible is the biggest story of hope that I know. And it ends not with death, it ends with resurrection. And we're not going towards a dark hole, but towards a new heaven and a new earth. This is what we live from. So we look at these new technological movements not with an image of doom, but with an image of a world in which every human being can live in dignity. And we as churches are called to be salt of the earth and light of the world. So that means for me that we should make sure that AI is really used to foster the dignity of the human person. And I'm very happy that Pope Leo has put human dignity in the center of his new encyclical on artificial intelligence. And I'm very happy to say that we, as the World Council of Churches, as an institution with 356 member churches, 600 million members in 120 countries, that we are completely one with the Roman Catholic Church, with Pope Leo, in putting human dignity in the center of our thoughts about artificial intelligence. And I have recognized many things that we have already said as World Council of Churches, also in Pope Leo's encyclical. The theme of love, the theme of empathy, the theme of relationship, and also the theme of responsibility. Responsibility means controlling the power of the big corporations and getting involved in the world. So my hope is that we, as churches, can really make a difference, can really be salt of the earth and light of the world in leading the movement towards a responsible use of artificial intelligence.
As we conclude this interview, it becomes clear that Bishop Heinrich Bedford-Strohm sees the debate on artificial intelligence not merely as a technological issue, but above all as an ethical, political and spiritual challenge. At the heart of his reflections is the conviction that data and digital technologies always raise questions of power and justice. The churches therefore have a responsibility to engage actively in public debate and especially to defend the interests of the vulnerable, the disadvantaged and those excluded from the digital world. At the same time, Bedford-Strohm emphasizes that artificial intelligence can be a valuable tool, but it can never replace human spirituality. Prayer, faith, creativity and our personal relationship with God remain expressions of human freedom and the human spirit. AI may assist, but it cannot take the place of the human person.
Digitale Ökosystem bewahrt oder ausgebeutet, geteilt oder monopolisiert werden.
As Pope Leo XIV writes in Magnificat Humanitas, and I quote in short, "Like the natural environment, the digital ecosystem can be protected or exploited, shared or monopolized. Solidarity requires that decisions benefit all future generations." Thank you for your interest. God bless you.